Winning ugly against ugly is still pretty.
You are Locked On Trojans, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Holkin, and thank you for making Locked On USC, part of the Locked On Network, your first listen every day, whether you're watching the show on YouTube or wherever you are going to download this podcast. It's going to be free, and I'm always going to appreciate your support. You can get into the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers, you can place a $5 bet, and you're going to get started with $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. I kept looking up the scoreboard. It was getting late in the game, and I kept seeing 13-9, 13-9. It was just staring right back at me. I was getting that really queasy, sick feeling in my stomach. And I don't think it had anything to do with the undercooked chicken that they served to the media in the press box. Actually, the meal wasn't that bad, but my chicken looked a little undercooked. Anyways, USC ended up winning this game 19-13. But explain to me, please. Someone help me out here. It's an instant reaction show. It's late. It is very late. Early Sunday morning. How in the hell can a Lincoln Riley offense only have 3 field goals to show for itself after nearly 50-plus minutes of game time? Anyone? Bueller? Turns out Miller Moss wasn't the biggest issue. He was part of the problem, but he wasn't the biggest issue. And I'll tell you right now, again, I'm not knocking him, but let's just call it out because everybody seems to think he was going to be the savior. Right now, Jaden Maiava is not the answer for this team. I'm not saying he's not the answer in the future, but anybody anticipating him just stepping in and making this ship go, no, it's not happening like that. I'm going to say it again because I think this is the crux of the problem. And I know I'm sounding like I'm going off on a rant, USC won, still, instant reaction show. If Coach Riley wants to grow as a head coach, I'm going to say it again. I'm going to keep saying it until it happens. Hire a gosh darn offensive coordinator and give up play calling duties. He's now becoming predictable. Again, USC settled for 3 field goals in the first half. They led 9-3 at the half. USC's first 3 times into the red zone, their first real offensive scoring chances happened after they punted on their first offensive series. They started at the 5, the 4, the 3. They settled for 3 field goals. It was the predictable play calling. Coach Riley's his insistence on passing it on short yardage downs, it's going to cost this team. I mean, it's cost them this year. Look, I know some of the play calls are, maybe it's up to the quarterback to do a read pass option. Not all of them. But what's going on right now at the 5-yard line, first and goal, where's the creativity? Here's what we get. Run on first down, get nothing, lose a yard, and then it's fade past city. Same play over and over and over again. And as great of a player as Kyron Hudson is, he makes the most difficult catches. He's not the guy you want to use in a jump ball fade city. That's Deuce Robinson territory. That's Jacoby Lane territory, which he wasn't used enough, but he scored USC's only offensive touchdown of the game. Where is this freaking creativity? Why are we waiting until there's less than 10 minutes left in the game to get creative? I mean, it was fun to watch. A double pass. Maiava to Makai Lemon. Makai Lemon finding Kyron Hudson just wide open, standing downfield. Set up the touchdown. Look, the Bruins have a good run defense, but their pass defense ain't great. And then you look up at the scoreboard or you look at the stat sheet, and Jaden was just pedestrian. He didn't hurt the team in any way. He wasn't the issue tonight, but he's still trying to figure it out. 19 for 35, 221 yards passing, the one touchdown pass, 4-yard pass to Jacoby Lane, fade pass, corner end zone. Here's USC's offense. We go over these numbers. I'll go over the stats for USC had 346 total yards of offense. UCLA, which struggles to do anything on offense, only had 376, but that's still 30 more than USC. They got better quarterback play. Ethan Garbers, and he's an older player. He's been through this rivalry game before. Again, I'm not knocking Jaden. Everyone calm down. Don't get tribal on me. But I think everybody was anticipating, hey, let's use his skill set a little bit more. It's almost like it's getting used by accident sometimes. So USC had 260 passing yards. And if Jaden had, 221, we know Mekhi Lemon had the balance. That was a 39-yard pass. Not bad. Rushing yards, USC, 86 total. They held UCLA to 111. That's their bread and butter. Penalties, and we knew this was going to happen. I'll talk about this a little bit more in the show in just a little bit. USC only two penalties, 25 yards. UCLA 8 for 70. Offensively, though, this is where it was really a struggle. Two good defensive teams. USC had 17 first downs, UCLA 16. Third down conversions. USC was only 4 for 14. UCLA 3 for 11. Average yards per play. This really sticks out. USC 5.3 yards. UCLA 6.8. What? Here's where you know it was USC's defense stepped up when they needed to. UCLA went for it on fourth down 3 times. Obviously, the last one of the game, their last offensive series, but they were 0 for 3. There was a big defensive stop by USC's that was huge. Talk about that in a little bit as well. What else do we have here? So, red zone opportunity. USC scored all 5 times they got down there, but you're not expecting 4 field goals, right? So, kudos to Michael Lance. UCLA was 2 for 2 in the red zone. Time of possession, even. 29:03 for USC, almost 31 minutes for UCLA. Mock Knicks, who cares? Again, time of possession is an empty stat. If you don't put points up, holding on to the ball for long periods of time, who cares? Turnovers. USC fumbled it twice. Didn't lose it, but they did fumble it twice. UCLA got away with one. It looked like it was a good call in the replay. Ethan Garber's arm was probably going forward, but it took away a sack and a fumble. Although USC did generate 3 sacks. They also had 3 tackles for loss on those sacks. That was it. And then Mayaba was sacked twice. UCLA did have 6 TFL, so they were able to get into the backfield and affect USC's run game. And we knew UCLA had a good run defense coming in. I was kind of hoping that USC would really lean into it. I'm not sure what it is, but Coach Riley just has that aversion to it. Hopefully he'll learn from it from this season. Now, those kind of numbers that I just went over with you, if they use those kind of offensive numbers next week at home, Notre Dame's going to make it for a really long afternoon for USC fans. By the way, game time, kickoff for that game next Saturday, Coliseum, 12:30 in the afternoon. So it won't be a late game for me. Thank you. USC has a chance to kill Notre Dame's dreams next week. That's what we're playing for right now. USC is now bowl eligible, and they get to go and try and ruin Notre Dame season. Again, we're going to talk about that as well coming up. First, going to do this. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You pick more or less on at least 2 players, and you have a shot to win up to 100 times whatever your money is. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best way to get action on sports in over 30 states, including those of you who now live in California, Florida, Georgia, Texas. If you live in those states, you know how hard it is to do these types of things. Now, you too can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Prize Picks is the only real money daily fantasy platform with an insurance policy. So even if your lineup stays in play, even if one of your players gets injured. If your player leaves in the first half and doesn't return, Prize Picks keeps your lineup live. And Prize Picks does this also for its members. It puts you first. All withdrawals are fast, they're safe, and they're secure. And when your picks hit, you get your money in like 15 minutes. That's how fast they do. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive that $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. Prize Picks, run your game. USC won 19-13. Wasn't pretty. But they did a few things. They did some good stuff. They did some stuff you're like, oh, why are you doing that? Whatever, right? It's college football. Over on wearesc.com, Eric and I, we put together, after a game, we do an article, a column called 5 Things. And we pick out 5 things that happened during the game. They're basically categories: surprise of the game, expectation met, play of the game, biggest takeaway. I'm going to share with you what we did for this game. And this is just one more reason why you need to sign up for wearesc.com. I know this is real late stuff, but this is kind of just some of the written content we do after a game. And then we also do some real more in-depth analysis as well. So, surprise of the game. This is what I put in for the surprise of the game. Would you be surprised if I told you that this was just the second time that Lincoln Riley, as a head coach, his offense has scored just 1 touchdown in the game? I was shocked. I thought for sure this is like the first time. It's not. The last time it happened, it was in 2021, Oklahoma versus West Virginia. I think that final score was 16-13. Very similar to this game, right? Now, with that being said, I do find it interesting that Coach Riley is now 2-0 when he has to rely on his team's defense and special teams production. Interesting, right? The Trojans were able to basically pull out this, finger quotes, ugly win. And it was at the Rose Bowl, 19-13. He used a strong defense, 3 Michael Lance field goals. I don't think any of them was really longer than 30 yards. And then you have that 1 late touchdown in the game. USC has really struggled to put points on the board this year. I mean, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. We've been talking about it all season long. And when you're doing that, when you're going up against pretty salty UCLA defense, it's a bit of a surprise to me, even though UCLA has a good run defense, that USC wasn't able to do anything in the red zone early in the first half. I mean, again, you had the 3 field goals, but you had 3 opportunities to score touchdowns. You're at the 5-yard line, 1st and goal. Here's player of the game. And we're going to split, this is Eric's contribution for player of the game. Then we're going to split this one down the middle, with 1 half going to wide receiver Mekhi Lemon, the other going to punter Eddie Chapliski. Good pick. Lemon, he actually led the team with 157 total yards, 69 receiving, 88 on kickoff. He had a really nice long kickoff return. And he also completed that pass for 39 yards that I was telling you about in the first segment. That's his only pass he's thrown in high school or college, right there. Apparently, they installed that play late, during the week. They only ran it a couple times, ran it to perfection. Kyron Hudson said after the game that Mekhi actually threw a better ball in practice. I like the result, the way it ended up in the game. I'll take it. So there you got Mekhi Lemon doing what Mekhi Lemon does best. He's just a great football player. But then you've got punter Eddie Czaplisky. He should be the Ray Guy Award winner. I mean, I thought it was pretty fitting that one of the USC's biggest plays of the game was that 44-yard punt that Mekhi Lemon down at the 1-yard line. It was that field position because USC's defense stood up, did what they needed to do. UCLA was forced to punt. It was a poor punt, shanked it out of bounds. And USC started, I believe, their own 49, maybe midfield. Here's my favorite part about that punt from Eddie, and I even asked him about it after the game. I don't know if you're familiar, if you're aware of this, but Eddie is from Philadelphia. And Philadelphia, when I think of Philadelphia, I think of Rocky Balboa. And the reason why is because after that punt was downed, I looked at midfield, and there is Eddie Czaplisky, arms up like Rocky, like he just got done running up the stairs, the steps, you know what I'm talking about. And he just stood there absorbing it all in. And he even admitted after the game, he goes, yeah, I'm the best punter in the country. It was very zen. And I like Eddie's personality. Good dude. Wish we could have him again next year. He deserves this award. He really, he puts the ball where he wants it. I mean, literally. If he says, I want it down inside the 5, the ball dies. How about expectation met for the game? Well, Eric said before the game, if you watch us together on Inside the Trojan Huddle over there at wearec.com, that he was adamant about this. UCLA's offense would not be able to score enough points to win the game. I mean, 13 points isn't going to get it done. But USC's offense was kind of like testing Eric's theory there. Again, 9 points at halftime. You don't get your first touchdown until late in the fourth quarter? Stop it. So you give credit to USC's defense. They did what they needed to do when they had to do it. I mean, UCLA's offense finished the game with a punt and 2 turnovers. Well, 2 turnovers on downs, I should say. And they only had 3 fourth quarter possessions. So again, USC's defense, they might have had the flu all week. Sometimes you just play better when you're sick, right? But this is what made this game so frustrating to watch as a fan. You're holding UCLA to 13 points. Where is Coach Riley's offensive genius? Where is it? I mean, at halftime, I was walking around and I found a former Trojan who actually played during the Pete Carroll years. I said, "What's your impression of this? What do you think of the play calling?" And he's not impressed at all. He goes, "This is what we're paying for." Again, nobody's on the let's fire Lincoln Riley bandwagon. That's not where we're going with this. Trying to figure out why is his offense sputtering so badly this year. You played both quarterbacks now. You're getting the same type of result. So, wide receiver issues? I don't know. What is it? Passing game's just not working the way it should. As far as my own personal expectation met, I told you we're going to talk about the penalties. I said it. I said it over there on Inside the Trojan Huddle. I wrote about it on wearec.com. UCLA, they were going to commit penalties. They play stupid football, which is ironic considering their head coach, Deshaun Foster, talked about, he's trying to run some smack earlier in the week. Yeah, the smart kids come over here to play. The other ones end up over there. Well, 8 penalties, 70 yards. USC, 2 for 25. Of those 70 yards, 45 came at the end of the first half. I don't know what happened. Nobody really wanted to talk about it. Rivalry game, skirmishes happen. But USC and UCLA, they go up different tunnels. They don't even have to interact with each other. But as USC was going up their tunnel at halftime, the UCLA team, headed by one of their coaches, was chasing after USC. I don't know which players had something, but it caused an itch, and UCLA players and apparently some of their coaching staff weren't having it. So I don't know what it was all about. One of USC's penalties, that got him to 25 yards, Mason Murphy. It was a dumb penalty, 15-yarder on the Bruins sideline. He had recovered a fumble, and I guess he might have said something or accidentally bumped into somebody on purpose. USC's offensive line played a pretty darn good game. Again, 2 penalties, 25 yards total. I don't remember what the other penalty was off the top of my head. I apologize. This is what Coach Deshaun Foster said after the game about, committing penalties and what can be done to correct it. Quote, it's just at the top. We've got to continue to stop, and I will keep reiterating discipline. That's why it's my first pillar. I didn't pull it out of nowhere. It was my first pillar for a reason. I felt like there was something we were lacking. We're still missing it. So we will continue to strive in the direction of discipline. And eventually, it's going to get fixed. I don't think it's going to get fixed this year, Coach. I'm sorry. You got one more game left. You host Fresno State. Oh, by the way, they were on a 4-game winning streak against UCLA. I have a feeling UCLA is going to break that streak this year. Fresno State, they're garbage. They're terrible. They're worse than UCLA. One of the cool things after the game, standing there in the end zone, got the iPhone out, getting all the video. Really cool seeing Tyler Vaughn's up there in the stands with the USC faithful. He was having a good time. Check out my Twitter, my X timeline. Got the perfect little video of T. Vaughn's doing this, enjoying it. Big old smile. Got long hair now. So play the game before we close out this segment. Look, this is my contribution. I can pick Eddie Traplisky's punts, including that last one I talked about. It was down to the 1-yard line. I could pick USC's defense as a whole, stopping UCLA's 4th and 1 attempt in the fourth quarter. Remember that quarterback sneak? Coach Foster didn't like the call. Too bad. USC was leading 16-13 when that happened. And they converted that first down. UCLA, who knows? Maybe they settle for the field goal to tie the score, go to overtime. Maybe it's worse. Eric was teasing me at the end of the game. This thing's setting up perfectly for a 1-point loss, Mark. Like, shut up, dude. Or, you know what? If those two weren't the plays of the game, I could just go ahead and my play of the game was definitely the double pass from Makai Lemon to Kyron Hudson. That set up USC's only touchdown. They needed that score. Again, Jaden Mayava found Jacoby Lane in the back of the end zone. I'm not sure what's going on right now. Jacoby's not seen a lot of field time. But again, that was the play of the game. Next week, hopefully, USC's offense shows up. The other reason why that was a really big score, it got that 13-9 score off the scoreboard. I was tired of looking at it. I needed to see 16-13 desperately. So the biggest takeaway from this game is USC beat UCLA, obviously, right? That was an ugly game. But I'll take ugly win over ugly any day of the week, twice on Sundays, because I think about other ugly games that USC's had against UCLA, 13-9. You don't like those results. So, again, I'm not sure what's going to happen with USC's offense. They got one more game against Notre Dame. Hopefully they'll be healthy. The flu will be gone. And they could just come out and they just blow the doors off the Irish. That would be a great way to end the season. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers, you can bet $5. You can get 115 bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL, and you can do this all in one place now. So now if you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you could check out the stats. You can check out view live play-by-play stuff. Got another bet you want to make? Guess what? You're already there. Just visit FanDuel.com, join today. You're going to get started with $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. That's FanDuel.com. All right, it is late. I need to go to bed before the sun comes up. Hey, you know what? Let's give Coach Riley a little pat on the back. He got his second win against UCLA. You know why that's important? Number one, he avoids sliding behind Coach Helton. Clay Helton was 5-1 against UCLA. It would have been a shocker to me. It would have been a shame. And it might be grounds for dismissal, tongue-in-cheek, if Lincoln Riley was 1-2 in his first 3 games against UCLA, against a UCLA team that cannot score. Let me say it again. USC had 27 players plus staff guys that were out on Tuesday when they practiced. Coach Riley was really ecstatic after the game how this team was able to finish, get through it. Did you know that this was the 5th straight year in this series that the road team has won? So let's start a new streak next year. USC is playing at home. The home team could start winning. USC is now bowl eligible. They got the victory bell back. Yes, that's what this is all about. USC was able to finish. They got the job done. Coach Foster said the same thing after the game. It's almost like these teams mirror each other. Quote, this is Deshaun Foster. We let one slip through our hands. All these losses have come to pretty much us letting it slip through our hands. We got to find a way to finish games. Deja vu, right? USC fans, we've heard this all season long from Coach Riley. But you know what? They found a way to win it. USC is now 6-5. They're bowl eligible. Woohoo! I can't believe some people were actually asking the players, how's it feel to be bowl eligible after the game? Players are like, hey, great. UCLA, they dropped to 4-7. They're not going to make a bowl game. I guess it's possible they can beat Fresno State if their APR can pull them across the finish line because other teams, they don't have enough teams for bowl games. Maybe that happens. UCLA's done that trick before. Maybe they'll do it again. But again, USC got the rivalry win. They got the victory bell back. Now they can paint that thing the right color. Good crowd. It'll look sold out. I believe the official attendance was 59,000 plus, close to 60K. USC fans, you represented yourself well. Although I'll have something to talk about that next week. I'll be back with another episode tomorrow. We're going to start, we'll talk more about this game, dive in a little bit deeper, and then I will also start looking ahead to the Irish. Yeah. I mean, look, USC has the victory bell back. That's one thing. They need to get that Jules Shillelagh back. USC is now 3-5 in one-possession games, and they beat UCLA, and I will be totally cool if USC has to settle for ruining UCLA's bowl aspirations, which they've done. And if they can kill the Leprechauns' chance to go to the playoffs, I'm good with that. I will hang my hat on that, and I'll say, let's go play a bowl game. That's it for this episode. I'm done rambling. I'll be back with another episode tomorrow. So until then, everyone, you know what to do. Remember, that was USC 19, UCLA 13.